Hello everyone, my name's Bal and I'm from Orlando Reed, and today I'm with Tony from the Arrowsmith Group, who's the developer behind this stunning mill conversion at Brunswick Mill. Today we're going to be learning about Brunswick Mill's past, we're going to be learning about all the historical elements and the future that Brunswick Mill holds. One of the main factors that drew us to Brunswick Mill is its fantastic storyline. So Tony, can you tell us a little bit about Brunswick Mill and its past?
Morning, Bal. Morning, everyone. So Brunswick Mill is a 180-year-old landmark building here on the edge of New Islington and Ancoats. Very famous for its old buildings and mill buildings here in Manchester. Manchester's background is as a city called Cottonopolis, and Brunswick Mill was one of the main focus points for cotton production here in Manchester, one of the largest mills. So the mill dates back to 1843. That's when it was finished in its first part. It was built in multiple parts, and we're stood in the main part of the original fabric of the building. It was designed by local architects to give the best production capabilities to the mill. The heritage of the mill is in every nook and cranny. What we have here is a building with a Grade 2 listing. That means that it's part of a series of listed buildings, one of the most significant buildings here in Manchester. The reason it was listed was in 1907, this was the first building in Manchester to be electrified for cotton production, and they think it was the first one in the UK. Now that was no mean feat. When they introduced electricity into the building, the mechanical machines increased in weight and size, so they had to do extra additions to the structural fabric of the building to be able to support the increased weight, to be able to bring the cables through the building and then to change their method of production. That continued on to the late 60s, when the building then moved over to light industry, when cotton started to be produced in other marketplaces. And this building then went on to have a significant impact on the Manchester music scene. They had over 100 rehearsal studios here in the building, and those rehearsal studios brought opportunities to people like the Stone Roses and Oasis to be able to practice their music ahead of when they became worldwide phenomena. We purchased the mill 3 years ago. We bought it with a view to bring what was quite a rundown and dilapidated building with a massive history back to life. The mill itself is located on a canal side. We've got a beautiful courtyard which is going to welcome people into our commercial properties on the ground floor, and it's the first phase of a multi-phase development here at Brunswick Square.
So Tony, there's clearly a lot of character in Brunswick Mill. So how are you preserving all these historical elements and bringing it into the 21st century?
Well, Bal, heritage is at the heart of Brunswick Mill. First of all, we work very closely with the local authority. All of the materials that you see here, they all stay. So whether it be these clay slates that are on the floor here, or whether it's the brick ceilings here, we're able to preserve those and to be able to utilize those in the final build. Elements of them will be visible throughout the whole of the building, including the concierge area, which we're also keeping as a bit of a heritage center to be able to showcase a lot of the history of the mill and how it was evolved over the period from 1843 up until now.
So zooming out a bit, Holt Town is going through some major regeneration. What's the vision for the area over the next few years?
Holt Town is the next big thing. Manchester City Council have put together a wide-ranging task force led by the CEO of the council to be able to deliver homes, regeneration and high-tech property here on our doorstep. What we're going to have is the best connectivity in Manchester and the northwest. Holt Town, Holt is an old ancient English word for wood. So wooden town is what is thought about here. A very landscaped area, lots of trees. There's a river that runs through the area here called the Medlock, which is down the hill. We've got the canal structures that are coming through here. So you've got all of that leisure space that is going to be reactivated. The area itself extends from the corner of our site here, which is our phase 2 part of the project where we have new build, all the way up past us here up Bradford Road, and then round to the Etihad building and then back around to us here. This will become the next extension of New Islington and of Manchester's big regeneration project. The task force for Manchester City Council is headed up by the most senior people within the council, including the CEO. We meet regularly, we work with the architects, we're working directly with the Manchester University to develop infrastructure solutions for connectivity, long-term future of this area here in Manchester.
So Tony, the rumour has it that a lot of famous bands have practised here in Brunswick Mill. Can you shed some light on that? Absolutely. One of the longest operators here prior to the conversion was a
a group called Brunswick Mill Studios. They had grassroots bands come through the building, and all of the famous names at one point or another have either been here rehearsing or they've been here supporting other local artists. But it's not just about the music. We've had photo shoots here, we've had filming for movies, filming for TV series, many times in the past.
So Tony, why do you think the time is right now for investors and owner-occupiers to consider Holt Town as their next investment?
We had a look into that crystal ball a few years back, Val, and we had an idea that our investment in this property and in this development was going to not only bring forward one of the most majestic buildings in this part of Manchester, but bring forward a fantastic investment opportunity. People that are getting involved in the project now, at this stage, they're getting in at a point before the full development potential is realised, so they're going to see growth in their investment from day number one. This whole area has seen a massive growth in investment all the way since the mid-2000s, when we had 150% growth in capital values. So we have massive growth in terms of employment on our doorstep here. There's a retail park just 800 metres from here, where 7,000 digital employees of the government are going to be relocated there in a few months' time, as well as another couple of million square feet of commercial space. So a lot of buy-to-let investors are looking for good quality, high value, low maintenance tenants for their properties, and that's what they're going to find here at Brunswick Mill.
So it's not just Brunswick Mill, it's the developer that we need to make sure that we're very comfortable in working with. And we need to make sure that we have a good track record. And Arrowsmith has an excellent track record in developing mills of this type. So we've seen the end product for Arrowsmith products in previous development. And we also have to make sure that we've got the full financials in place. So Arrowsmith has full funding on Brunswick Mill, which is one of the main factors when trying to sell units off plan for a development like this. Secondly, we've seen the final product. We've seen what the development looks like at the end on previous schemes. So we know what Brunswick Mill will look like on completion. It's a stunning building. It has so much history and character. It's very, very different to everything else in Manchester itself. If you walk down in Manchester city centre, there's a lot of high-rise new builds. And to me, they're all the same. Brunswick Mill is a very, very different development. It has so much history, character, and it's fantastic to be working with a fantastic developer like Arrowsmith Group. So being from Manchester myself, I wanted to work with a development like Brunswick Mill that kept all its key history factors and preserved all these fantastic features in the building itself. Brunswick Mill has so much history. There's so many bands that have played here, and it really does spell a good future for Manchester. So Tony, I keep visiting Brunswick Mill every month or so, and it keeps changing all the time. It's looking so different to when I first came. So can you give us a little construction update of what's been going on recently?
Absolutely, Bal. We've had a lot of work going on the external elevations here. So the Bradford Road elevation and the road coming round to the south of the site, that's all been repointed and re-weathered, so that's ready for the scaffolding to come down now. We've got a lot of work going on inside. You might be able to hear it going on the floors underneath us, where we're working on the internal elevations to bring those back up to the same standard that we're expecting throughout the building. All of these renovations have been done with the approval of the local authority, the heritage officer from there. We're using a specialist heritage contractor to be able to bring this brickwork and these soffits back to light. We've got these beautiful arch ceilings here, fully exposed on this floor, that everything gets repointed and gets rechecked for structural stability, and then all of the surfaces are finished with the windows in, and then we're going to be ready to be moving on to the actual fit out. Externally, we've got a little bit more demolition to happen, a few more openings to happen in the floors here that will then bring services from floor to floor. Windows are on order. They'll be coming to us around about September time, and that will be the big transformation part of the building. By that time, all of the work internally here will be finished, the windows will go in, and then we'll start to make the subdivision of the spaces into apartments themselves.
Well, Tony, thanks so much for having us at Brunswick Mill today. It's been fantastic coming here and seeing the progress.
You're very welcome. It's good to be back working with Orlando Reed again.
So if you'd like to hear more about Brunswick Mill or be part of its future, then please do contact the Orlando Reed team and we'll get in touch with you.